We are recording, and it's an interview with Kate Chappell, who's the executive member for the environment. What's been happening tonight, and did you have a good time?
We've been at an urban forum on cycling at the Anthony Burgess Foundation. Yeah, quite a good time. I was on the panel. I think it's fair to say I got grilled about cycling in Manchester, but it was an interesting conversation. Quite a tough gig.
What was the most awkward question, and what was your answer?
There were a series of awkward questions. I'm going to duck your awkward question because there were so many awkward questions. Someone did suggest closing Cllr Road to traffic from Fallowfield all the way up to the city centre, which was probably not the toughest question, but at least the most radical question I fielded tonight.
But you don't want to commit political suicide just yet?
As I said, all the options are going to be looked at on the table, but I would be surprised if that one came out. I mean, there were some difficult questions about future funding of cycling schemes and about what we should look for in our infrastructure.
Okay, I'm just going to move back a bit, that's a better angle. And in your speech, you advocated becoming a highway bore. What do you mean by that, and how can other people help you to become a better highway bore?
I think the phase we're moving into in Manchester is going to be all about delivering good infrastructure and patching up the infrastructure that we have so that it's decent for cyclists. I think that's the first thing, the most basic thing we've got to do to get people out on their bikes and riding around, and that is the way you grow momentum and get more and more people on the roads. So I think it's just really boringly about filling those potholes, fixing those drains, lifting those grates, and making sure signage and the routes are consecutive and just intuitive and coherent. And to do that, I have to be a highway bore because I've got to pore over all the schemes and check that they're delivering that, make sure we've got the right technical specifications on maintaining our roads. And other people need to be highways bores because they need to pick up defects, report them to the council, and let's get them all fixed.
So I'm in Crumpsall or Rusholme or Woodhouse Park, and there's a bloody pothole that the council hasn't been fixing, and I've watched this interview on Manchester Climate Monthly advocating I become a highway bore. Now what do I do?
You take a picture of it and email that picture to contact@manchester.gov.uk, specifying where it is on the road and saying that it's in a cycle lane and it needs fixed. And then in due course it gets fixed, and due course should be 20 days, but it depends on the depth of the pothole.
You also mentioned sort of what can get a council's attention, and I'm not sure if you're aware of the case where a council actually did get sued because of a fatality. A cyclist hit a pothole and the judge finally decided recently that the council was liable. Are you aware of that case?
Yes, yeah. I did read about that case actually, and I think I did read about it, and there was some discussion within our highways department about it. I think it may have come down in that instance, but I'm not sure, to the fact that they hadn't inspected the road and hadn't notified that as a defect and hadn't filled it. So in Manchester we focus on inspecting the roads really regularly and filling the defects that we're legally liable for. Now I think what needs to change actually nationally is there needs to be a different standard for how big a pothole has to be in order for it to affect cyclists, because obviously it's really different if you go across a pothole on a bike compared to in a car, and actually more significantly cyclists will swerve around potholes and swerve out into the open road and put themselves at risk of being hit by a car. So we need some kind of mechanism for capturing that and making sure that not just Manchester City Council but all city councils, all councils, all local authorities are recognising that as a duty to fix up those potholes in the cycleway margins. Now there is nothing in law at the moment about that specifically, and I think there needs to be.
Great. You mentioned at the end of your speech that what we need is a debate on the role of the car over the next 20 years. my question isn't about what you'd say in the debate, but sort of what the mechanics. I mean, obviously you don't mean a one-off event in the town hall. You mean so who would be involved in that debate? Who are the stakeholders? What sorts of ways would their opinions be canvassed, and who would make sort of decisions about, well, what the role of the car is in Manchester?
I think ultimately it's going to be the council making decisions about the infrastructure it provides, and that's what the council and the political body does. I think before that we need a big public discourse that shouldn't be led by the council, should be led by newspapers, voluntary groups like this, the universities, and maybe that will be expressed in events like this, but also in letters pages, on blogs. We just need to talk about how many spaces do we want for City Car Club across the city? How many spaces do we want to convert into taxi ranks? Should we be taking away some car parking spaces and making it into parks? We need to have those discussions, and there are really good economic and social, and I suppose occasionally environmental reasons that people need to get in their car and drive somewhere. And it's about making sure people are making the right transport choice for the right journey they're doing. We can't be anti-car, but we do need to talk about how we balance the provision of our infrastructure across car users and other forms of transport.
Great. I look forward to that debate, and we will try and play our part. On the subject of blogs, your blog, where are things up to?
I am trying to resolve some just resourcing requirements within the council to deliver that. But it's taking a bit of time because it's not a top priority amongst all the other things that are on my desk and other people's desks to get the blog up and running. But I recognise it would be a good thing to do, and it's on the list. It's just not quite got to the top to kind of do things about. But I did put in an initial request for one. There were some concerns raised about how to resource and support that, and I just need to make sure we can answer all those concerns.
And hopefully we'll get the other exec members blogging in due course as well. Anything else you'd like to say? Any questions I didn't ask that you were afraid I would?
No, I'd like to thank you for your very amusing April Fool joke.
Yes.